Hi, Pre-Calc. Let's do a quick recap of what you're supposed to remember from Chapter 3. Okay, Chapter 3 was all about quadratics, which means everything in this chapter was a parabola. Okay, so we really studied graphing parabolas and doing algebra work on parabolas. One of the things that we did was completing the square. Okay, so hopefully you have your steps handy for completing the square. I have to get the x squared term alone. So the first thing that we're going to do is factor out a 3. Now you only take it out of the x terms. Okay, what happens to that 4? Oh, sorry, 4. You have to go way outside. You're not in here. 6 divided by 3 is going to be a positive 2. Okay, that was step 1. And then it was time to half and square the b number. Oops, where's my x? So half of 2 squared is plus 1. Now, is that really a plus 1? Or is it in disguise? It's really plus 3, so I'm going to compensate out here with a minus 3. Okay, so f of x is going to be 3. This should factor nicely. Okay, this guy right here will tell you if it's plus or minus. I take the square root of 1, and then it's going to be quantity squared plus 1. Okay, so the vertex right here is change, same, so it's going to be negative 1, 1. This parabola, looking at the a value, opens up. Okay, line of symmetry. Line of symmetry, that's a vertical line. So if this was my parabola, it's a vertical line going straight down the middle. It's going to pass through the vertex, so it's going to be a vertical. It's x equals, and it's always your x value. Okay, how about the transformations? That 3 means vertical stretch by 3, and it would need to get shifted 1 unit to the left 1, and then it would have to get shifted up 1. Okay, what's that basic growth chart for the parabola? For the parabola, over 1 up 1, over 1 up 3, over 1 up 5. Okay, except we're going to do a vertical stretch of 3, which means the ups all have to get multiplied by 3. Okay, ooh, tall and skinny parabola. Okay, so let's go left 1, up 1. Vertical stretch of 3. We're opening up, over 1, up 3. Oh, that's all I can fit. Over 1 up 3. Okay, get really skinny in there. How many parabolas do you think I'm going to make you draw on the final? Probably none, right? I'm going to draw them and you're going to pick the correct one. So if you can complete the square and tell me which way it's shifted, that might narrow it down. Don't pick the ones that are opening down. Process of elimination, with the more that you know, the better things are going to be. Okay, a lot of what we did this chapter was word problems. Okay, and we had this very fancy equation right here. This equation, okay, is for projectile motion. So we were throwing lots of things up into the sky, and what goes up must come down. Okay, that's why it's a negative parabola. Okay, the basic equation was h of t equals negative 16t squared. Always negative, and then it's plus v naught, so there's your initial velocity, and then plus h naught, there's your initial height. Okay, and don't forget that the units for this were always feet and seconds. Okay, especially you physics people. So just looking at this equation, what's the initial height? It's going to be 10 feet. How about the initial velocity? The speed with which it was thrown up into the air, 36 feet per second. Okay, how do you find the max height? If I take a look at a graph, which it says to draw right here, okay, my two variables are t and h of t. So we've got height right here, height with units, feet. We've got time with units, seconds. The initial height was 10 feet, and it was going up, 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 down, down, down. Okay, so how do you find the maximum height and the time it takes to get to that height? We're going to do an h and a k calculation. Okay, so let's just remind everyone what those are. Now let's switch colors here. Okay, so h is equal to negative b over 2a. Negative b is going to be negative 36 divided by 2a is going to be 2 times negative 16. The negatives cancel. Let's cancel the 2's. Cancel the 2's, so we're going to get 18 over 16. 18 divided by 16, if I cancel by 2, is going to be 9/8. Okay, and that's the h, so that's the time. The time to get to the maximum height, okay, is going to be 9/8 seconds. A little more than 1 second. Okay, and now let's do our k. The k is going to be the maximum height. K is equal to c minus b squared over 4a. So c is going to be 10, and b squared, I never multiply the b squared. I'm just going to write 36 times 36 divided by 4a, which is negative, and now it's cancel time. Cancel the negatives. Let's cancel by 4. It's going to make 9. What else can we cancel by here? We cancel by 4 again. That would make a 4 and another 9. And I know that 9s don't cancel with 4s. So we have 10 plus 81 over 4. Let's give this guy a common denominator. Let's multiply top and bottom by 4. So he's 40 over 4. So how many fourths is that? 121 fourths. So the maximum height, I'm just going to leave it like that, is 121 fourths feet. Okay. At what time does it hit the ground? I got to get out my red pen for this problem. This is the one more people had trouble with. The ground is right there. Okay. The ground is an x-intercept. And how do you find an x-intercept? You let y equals 0. Okay, so 0 equals. Let's go ahead and write tiny because I think I'm going to do lots of steps for this problem. Okay, so let's go ahead and factor something out because these numbers are too big. I'm definitely going to take out a negative. Well, they're all even. I could take out a 2. He's got a 5. They're not going to divide by 5. So negative 2 is the biggest number that you can factor out, which means your problem is now 8t squared minus 18t minus 5. Okay, so now let's go ahead and get this thing factored. Okay, some people like to do an MA table. Okay, so for those of you that need a little multiplying and factoring lesson here, 8 times negative 5 is negative 40, and the add number is 18. Okay, so we'd have to spend some time figuring out these numbers. Some people are good at guess and check. Let's see, 40. It's not 40 times 1. Is it 20 times 2? Yes, if you put a negative on the 20. Okay, what do you do with these numbers? You split the middle. Okay, so what you have here is the negative 2 outside, and I'm going to use some brackets. 8t squared is the beginning term. Your middle, your t's are now both of these, minus 20t plus 2t, and then you write minus 5. And now it's a factor by grouping problem. Okay, so if I go ahead and factor out a 4t, that leaves me with 2t minus 5. If I factor out a plus 1, you've got to write plus or minus something here. That would give me a matching 2t minus 5. Okay, so in factored form, the negative 2 is just hanging outside. 4t plus 1 are the leftovers, and 2t minus 5 are the insides. So it looks like I'm getting two answers for t. I'm getting t equals negative 1/4 seconds, and I'm getting time is 5/2 seconds. Wait, I can't go back in time. Oh, I know what that is. That's this answer over here. That one does not make sense. Okay, so it must hit the ground at 2.5 seconds. That's the one that makes sense. Okay. We also did a lot of word problems this chapter. Okay, for example, we did a lot of fences. Okay, and this fence right here is being built along the side of a barn. Okay, so we take a 200 feet of fence. 200 feet of fence. Where's my barn? This will be the barn right here. I'm going to chop off X and I'm going to build the left. I chop off X, I build the right. Now, since it's against the side of a barn, okay, I'm going to take the fence that's left, and that's 200 minus the 2X, and I'm going to use all of that for the bottom. What if I had to build 4 sides? I would divide this in half and use half for the top and half for the bottom. But since this only has 3 sides, I get to use all of it for the bottom. Okay. I need to write an area equation. So A of X equals base times height. And I'm going to go ahead and distribute that out because you need your ABC. So I'm going to write negative 2x squared in descending order plus 200x. Okay. So I'm taking a look here. What is the maximum area? Maximum area. I know that if I graphed this, this would be x, this would be a of x. I know that the parabola would be opening down. And when it says maximum area, is that my x value or my y value? That's the y value, okay? So should I do an h or a k? I need to do a k calculation for area. If it said dimensions, okay, I would do the h. Should we put that note right in here? Okay, this would be if you wanted to find x, okay, in order to find dimensions. But since we're asked to find area, okay, we're going to do a k calculation. K equals c, which is nothing, minus b squared 200 over 4a, which is negative 2. First thing I do is I cancel out those negatives. 2 cancels with 200 to make 100. 4 goes into 200 to make a 50. And so 5 times 1 with 3 more zeros is going to be 5,000 feet squared. Okay, so there might be a fence problem with 3 sides or 4 sides and h and k. Okay, I would say don't forget units, but on the multiple choice test you just pick the one. Okay, and then the last thing that we studied this chapter was the revenue problems. Okay, and so you're selling something. R of X is going to equal, let's see, candy bars cost 80 cents, and there's 1,000 sales per week. Okay, so there's a cost for the candy bars times the number that I'm selling. One of these goes up while one of them goes down. Okay, and you have to look for the words for. Where's my red pen? A market study reveals that for every increase in price. Okay, so immediately write down that X is going to be the number of increases. So if the problem says how many times should I increase, then you find X. All right, let's go ahead and work on our equation a little bit. They're currently selling for 80 cents. Okay, so that's going to be 0.80. And I'm going to increase it 10 cents, but not just 10 cents, it's 10 cents times every X. Maybe I increase twice. I'm currently selling 1,000 of them, but I'm going to lose 20 sales if I keep making it go up, so minus 20 times every one of those increases. Okay, we are going to have to multiply this out so that we can get the ABC. Okay, so R of X equals, when you multiply by 1,000, we're going to move this decimal over 3 times. 1, 2, 3, that's going to be 800. Okay, outers. If you chop off that 0, you can move this over 1. 8 times 2 is going to be minus 16x. When I do the inners here, I'm going to move this decimal 3 places to the right. That's going to be plus 100x. And last, let's see, 0.10. 0.10, you just move the decimal over 1. It's going to be 2x squared. Let's go ahead and write this in descending order. Negative 2x squared. That's going to be plus 84x plus 800. Okay, so I've got my revenue equation. A graph for this kind of problem, okay, would be x, which we said was number of increases, and then you've got R of x, okay, which is the total revenue for all the candy bars times all the cost. It starts at 800. Okay, price is going to get better. The total money is going to get better, and then I charge way too much. I make no money. Okay, how many times should the price be increased? How many times? Okay, what's the number of increases? The number of increases. Well, that's X. Okay, since I want to maximize my sale, how do I find the greatest X? We'll do an H calculation. Negative B over 2A. The negatives cancel. 84 divided by 2 is 42 divided by 2, which means 21 increases. Is that the price? No, that's the increases, 21 increases. Okay. So now we're going to take a look at what should the new cost be. What's the new cost? If you go back to the original equation, okay, the cost is right here. The cost used to be 80 cents, but I'm going to increase it a dime. How many times? 21 times. Okay, so 21 is going to go right in there. So the cost, it used to be 80 cents plus 10-cent increases 21 times. Wow, that's 80 cents plus, what is that? $2.10? Oh my gosh, the cost is going to be $2.90 for a candy bar. I am not going to make that many sales, but I am going to make a lot of money on the ones that do buy it. I hope this helped recap Chapter 3. We're going to practice in class.